Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luba.
My name is Striker. Now, today's topic is a topic that we've talked about before, haven't we? In the past, but it comes up all the time. And so we want to address it again, but kind of like from a different angle. I made a video called, I can't remember what it was called actually, like the problem, like something to do with like the 5 problems or 9 problems or something. I'll put a card up here. When it comes to really large age gaps. And when we're talking about large age gaps, we're not talking 5 years or 10 years or even like 12 years. We're talking like when it gets to like 15, 20, 25 years. And some of the problems that can happen with that. And since I made that video, which was a year ago, it's one of the most viewed videos on the channel. You know, so people are obviously interested in it. But I think more so what it is that they're interested in what is acceptable, what can be achieved.
Yeah, because a lot of guys, and we already discussed that many times, that I understand completely that the guys are looking for younger ladies. It's like it's your biology. I support that because, of course, like, you know, if there is a chance for you to get a car, like you definitely want to get the latest model car, not like, you know, 90s, 70s. So obviously, like it's
a good analogy. I like this.
No, like as a girl, I understand, and you know, when I look at things, like, you know, we all like with our eyes first, but there is some more reasonable things that to think about when you're taking the lady with a big age gap. And I think that in this video we will try to cover that and explain our view why we think that big age gap is not what you need to do. And first of all, it is not good for you exactly, you know, for the guy, because the lady who is younger, 20 years younger, you know, she still be young, she still be like even in 10 years time, right?
Yeah. One thing I'll say is that when I made the video like a year ago, like this was before I came to spend a lot of time in Ukraine. And a lot of it was just from talking to guys on Skype, and people would just contact me and say, can I get some advice from my experience? And we just talked for like an hour or two, and a lot of those guys I'm friends with now. And so like I would sort of gain this understanding of it. That plus like, you know, obviously researching online and stuff like that. Now the understanding can come from actual real life experiences from dealing with not just Luba as well with her clients, but also more guys that we deal with, like from our consultation calls that we have. You sort of start to understand a little bit more. We sort of gather all the information and we can sort of present it a little bit better.
And we use always the practical examples. It's not just like how we think or like how they say or whatever. We just talking about like real experience that our clients either used to have, or my clients, you know, he even like got married with Ukrainian lady, like one of the guy. He's going through a very tough divorce right now. And the main reason for that is the age gap.
So yeah, okay, so I guess like the question is, and I don't know what the title of this video is going to be, but maybe it would be something like, can you date women in Ukraine with a 25-year age gap? The answer is yes, you can.
Yeah, exactly.
You can date them, you know, there's I can't say there's no problem with it, but of course you can, okay, so
it depends for how long you want this relationship to last. Like if you want it just for 5 years, fun, just go for it, enjoy your time, you know, be passionate about that and do it. But if you're really looking for the lifetime partner, like then it's
the longevity of it is not right. Yeah. Like when it comes to she's going to look at your value, right? You're looking at her value as being young and beautiful and fertile, and that's how we look at a young woman based on, you know, evolution, biology. That's what we believe is going to be the best option to sow our seeds, so to speak. So she's looking at you as well. So she's going to be looking at how much money you have, social status, how much game you've got, and if you're lacking in any one of these things, you have to make up for it with something else. So say if you're a much larger age gap, say 20, 25 years, 30 years even, you have to make up for that in this, money, say. But that's not going to work in the long run.
It's kind of like it sounds bad, but you buy her beauty and she is kind of like selling it for your money.
Yeah.
It sounds like terrible, and I know that a lot of guys probably will comment that I'm not right, but what are you talking about, what happened to you? But it is like, if you think about that in general, and if you will be honest with yourself, like sitting there and thinking, you will understand that, you know, we are right. And another thing that is important about like when you're choosing somebody closer to your age. I'm not saying like 1 or 2 years.
Well, let's say an example of an age we're talking about, because it might be hard to understand if someone's watching this and they don't know us and they're saying, well, what are you talking about? Like, are you talking about a 40-year-old guy going out with a 20-year-old? Are you talking about a 60-year-old going out with a 40-year-old? What exactly, what are we talking about? Give us an example.
The bad
Typical.
example or good example? No, I want to give a good example, right? For example, like some of you already seen, and maybe you will watch the video with Kevin that we did, right? So Kevin is 64, and his lady is 55, like in a couple of months. So let's say 54 as well. So they have a 10 years age gap. That is like, you know, I think very good and comfortable age gap, because she's still like, you know, she's younger, she looks good, and but they have so much in common. They went to the concert, and you know, I know that if he would go with any younger lady, she would just have no idea what is going on, and it will be torture. And the same torture gonna be for him when she will make him listen to her like pop music or something like that. They went to this rock concert where it was the AC/DC, Scorpions. They called me after the concert like they can't go to bed because they were so excited. They was like sending me videos of these guys playing. They know all the songs. When I was driving here to the train station, they asked me to put the songs on a in my car so they can listen to that. They have so much in common. And you know, when you are with somebody, beauty is one thing, but you know, there's so many different things that need to click. Then you know, it's gonna be strong and powerful couple, right? Because if there's only one thing that is kind of like you attracted to her, then you know, it's like too easy to fall apart. Especially with years, like when we talk about 15, 20 years old, when the guys like in their 50s, they're looking for the girls like in their 30s, you have to understand that in 10 years of time, you're going to be 60 and she's going to be 40. That, you know, in Ukraine, like when I'm talking with the 40 years old ladies and I see how they look in Ukraine, I like tell them that they're old. Tell them that they need to go, you know, some of them are even dating in Ukraine, like younger guys. Remember I told you about this lady, she's like, she's 55 and like all of your lovers, like they're like 35, 40, because she's like active, she's hot, she has experience and guys like it. So don't think of Ukraine that, you know, the lady will go just because you have a Western passport or something like that.
Well, for the long haul, right? You know, and this is the thing, it's like a lot of relationships, they struggle after like 8 years or something like that. Like where they're having this massive age gap. And the thing you got to remember, like, you know, a lot of us, we like to think that, you know, we're young at heart. The classic line when someone writes a profile is, I'm 50 years old, but people say I look 40, and it's probably people going, that's what I wrote. And it's funny because I actually found that old profile I wrote, and I said the exact same thing as well. But aging, you have to realize, aging is exponential, you know, from the age of 20 to 30, not that much changes. 30 to 40, it starts to change a little bit. 40 to 50, 50 to 60. When you get around 60, like it's, you know, a lot changes fast. It's exponential, the aging process. And so if you've got a 20-year age gap, you know, you're you experience a lot of the age of the side effects of aging, where she doesn't. And some of the things that we have seen recently is that the guy gets older. She's still relatively young. She's at a phase in her life where she knows that the wall is coming, right? And if she wants to have another child and he can't, you know, maybe physiologically he can't have a child, or he just doesn't want to have a child, she will look elsewhere. It's not because she's a bitch or anything like that, or that she's mean or evil. It's just that that's how nature has intended it to be. If she believes that she can spit out another child before the time is up, then she'll do that. And the worst thing, and this is why we don't support these really large age gaps, because it breaks our heart when these guys have to go back into the dating pool.
In 10 years
in 10 years time,
5 years time.
They're 60 years old. They went into it when they were 50, they were fit, they were good looking, you know, and they could get like this, you know, 20-year-old.
And especially guys get relaxed when they're in relationships. So,
exactly.
You know, like this happened to one of the guys that, you know, he'd been fit, really, as you say, you know, he'd been fit, he'd been good, and now he's kind of like a bit like bigger because he was relaxed. He thought that he's set.
And now he has to enter back into that same dating market with the same mindset that he had 10 years ago, 15 years ago, still chasing the same thing, knowing that we know that it's not attainable, but trying to tell somebody that. And at that stage there, you need to have more money to offset the fact that you're much older, maybe you're a bit fatter, you're a bit slower, you're a bit wrinklier, all of these things that just naturally happen to us as we grow older.
It's normal. No matter how we don't like it, like, and when we think, when we talk about aging, we like it's sad. We really feel bad about that.
It's the reality of it, but you have to realize that this is the reality of it. And I couldn't even think of anything worse than going back into that dating market. Imagine how much it's changed over the last 10 years with Tinder, with Badoo, with these websites, all this. Imagine what it's going to be like in 10, 15 years if you have to enter back into it. She's going to be 40 years old, you may be 60, 65 years old. Like it'll be so hard. You're almost like setting yourself up to maybe being lonely, you know. when you get to those ages, that older age, when in your 40s you're like, I need to settle down now, otherwise I'm going to be older. I'm going to be older and lonelier. It may actually happen, except the only thing that's happened is that, you know, you've wasted 20 years, you know, maybe with another woman.
And another thing that I want to say that, you know, a lot of guys, they say, oh, like he's 55 or 60, he said, I want to have a kid. You know, you have to be realistic with yourself. Like if you are like, you need to think about that before, is basically what I'm trying to say. Because to be honest, like I've seen that the guys try to cover their expectation by saying that they want to have kids. And that's why they're looking for a younger lady. But this is just an excuse to get a younger lady, like to the agency or to anybody else. But I want to tell you that the difference between, because like I've been in US, I've been living there, so I know how the ladies, like, of course, there are some ladies that looks incredible, but how the most of the ladies after 40s, they stop taking care of themselves, you know, they think that, you know, whatever, like you think of the Western woman. But in Ukraine, all the ladies that I speak with, like before 40, they kind of like go with the flow. They think that they're beautiful by nature, they don't do anything. But as soon as the lady becomes 40 in Ukraine, she really, like, she wants to improve herself. She wants to be better in every possible aspect. She will be more caring, she will take care of herself, maybe she will just start going to the gym. And, you know, you have to understand that lady in her 40s and older in Ukraine is different than a lady on the West. And even Elena, like, who is 54, like if you already know, you know, who we're talking about, like she's going to the gym, she's taking care, she tried to eat, you know, healthy, and she understands that, you know, her age is not like really playing a good role with her, so she is like she
gets it.
She gets it, yeah. Like, and we ladies, we understand it, and so she go to cosmetologist. You know, before she came, she said, you know, it took like a week, you know, for the week vacation. It took a week, you know, to do all the preparation to look nice. But they do it with more passion than other ladies who just thinking that, you know, she's beautiful and young, and you're just old, and you know, she don't have to really like care about herself. So this is definitely something to think about. We not convince you if you completely think that you want to date somebody only younger and it's only way how you do it, how you want to do it, go for it. Like, we're never going to tell you no, but you just know our opinion about that. And the most important is that opinion is based on practical examples.
Yeah, from what we see, you know, a lot of guys get misled by these dating websites that say that you know, they think that they're talking to someone and they think that this is what's attainable. It's not attainable. Even if you were like living here, you know, and you could like meet women that were 20 years younger and you could go out on a date with them. That's like, there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's like having fun. It's going out. You know, maybe you do fall in love, but you have to understand that. Like, you have to understand that from a very like the fundamentals of it is that it's not a relationship that has any real longevity. Maybe a very small percentage, but the chances are, and from like the long big age gaps that Luba knew from 10, 15 or 10 odd years ago, when it was much easier to achieve because times were different back then in the 2000s, I suppose. They've all fallen to bits, haven't they? They're pretty much all...
you know, in one way or another. Sometimes it's not exactly divorce, but I just see that, you know... Yeah,
it's not a good life for him, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't want to go like too much in the examples because I really can talk about this for ages, but if you want to, like, if you trust us, you know, if you want to be happy in relationship, just be reasonable with the age gap. And then you will find Ukrainian lady who will be really like super caring. She will be with the traditions, with the values. She will support you. She will be like, I call it like the man always has to be a rock, but the lady will be your rock as well. She will be, you know, like support, and she will be, oh, somebody's eating, always this. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, she will be there for you. When the younger lady, she will just looking for better options, and it's what I see from the examples.
Yeah, and that's where the whole thing comes down to value. Okay, so you're going to value her, you're going to value her beauty, you're going to be into her frame. She will be in your frame if you have enough money. But I mean, she's young, you know, and like there are so many things that can change over those years for her, especially in her 30s.
And
Baby
you will
rabies
be
will give him.
And you will be extremely jealous, you know, guys. Like, I see how it happened. Like, they not let her. Like, one guy, he almost like not let her go out because everybody look at her, everybody's staring.
Yes.
From one hand, it's nice for you because you think, you know, it's my wife. But for how long, you know, she gonna be like that?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, if you click on the link, I'll put it down below for the original video that I made, which was my hypothetical reasons why it cannot work. I stand by all of them. Absolutely all of them, from what I have seen of actually like kind of, I guess, being in this industry now. I stand by absolutely all of them, is that there are so many problems. And so if you do go into this big relationship and you think that she becomes a gold digger, or she becomes like she's looking at other guys, she's going out with her friends, you can't complain about it because you signed up for it.
Yep.
Accept it, and
it was your decision.
Accept that it may end at some stage. Like we want relationships to last. Like that's what we stand for. Is the relationships like for life, if it's possible, you know, for life. But by going for this big age gap, like you're really selling yourself short.
You decrease your chances
by
of
like 95%.
Because anything can
it.
happen, of course. You know, people broke up even when they like the same age or they have 5 years. Like nobody promised you anything. But why would you risk it with a reason that is like so obvious that it will not work out like in 5-10 years?
And one thing I'm going to say, two things here. Okay, so if you want to date like beautiful like 23-year-old sort of Instagram models, and you're sort of in your 50s, I've got a couple of things here. One of them is like, when you were 25, were you dating those kind of women back then? If the answer is no, then chances are when you're 50, unless you're very rich, but then of course she's going to be a gold digger, and so you can't.
Are you ready for that? Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, there. And the other thing was, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Say something, and I'll come back to it in a minute. It was. No, keep going.
No, example for that is that like I've been working for one of the companies, and there was a guy. He actually like I was in Kyiv. There's like a Gulliver shop, maybe some of you know, and like I went there to the grocery and I just turn and I see that he's in the jewelry shop, and I know that he just arrived yesterday. And I thought that, you know, either he communicated with that lady for a long time, but why he was like, and he was not sorry about that. He was like 65, and he was only dating the girls in their 25s, and he told them that he wants to buy them. Like he said that, you know, at the end, like I asked him, like, why did you went to the shop? Like, what happened? Did she ask you? I said, she was waiting for me for 10 minutes. I was late, and I decided to surprise her. So if you're ready for that, like, you know, probably the girl was like, wow, yeah, I will go with him on another date. I don't know how deep it will go, like how much further it can go on that stage, but I know that our guys are not like this. It's not that they're not rich. We have awesome guys, everybody with whom we've been talking. It's more about like, do you want this? Like, does it really like...
Yeah, and that was the other thing that I was going to say, was that if you are using, you know, you're trying to work, like, you know, you got to make up some value somewhere else. There's a big age gap, or maybe you're not such good looking, and maybe you can make up with money. Like, you actually forfeit the right to call her a gold digger. You know, you forfeit the right. Like, if she's saying, well, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and like, you forfeit the right, because you have to understand that the reason that she could possibly be with you is because of that money. You know, there's like men love women idealistically. We love women. We want to think that, I want her to love me the same way that I love her, but that's not the way that it works. She loves a man in a practical way. How can you provide for her? You know, how are you going to support her and her family? That's just the way it is. I'm not saying there's no love and like the romance stuff that comes as well, but these big age gaps, like, you really have to make up for it some other way. It's just the way that it is. I know it sucks, but it's the way it is in the West. It's the way it is here. It's only because of these other companies that they make you think that there's some sort of, like, you go over some magic bridge, and like the dynamics, the intersexual dynamics between a man and a woman somehow get flipped on their head. It's not the case.
But remember, I told you that the best recipe of the good relationship is when, even if you like, you can, you know, you have money and you can give her and show her everything. But you know, I think that much better is when you live a comfortable life, you live on a comfortable zone. You're not in a poverty, and you're not like extremely rich. You're not trying to spoil her and buy her everything she wants, but you live comfortable. You know, you show her like you can have everything like you want, reasonable, of course. And then sometimes you just go on like super like cool vacation, or you just get something that both of you really wanted. This is, I think, when the relationship really is strong, when it's based not on money, not on this like, you know, expensive stuff. It's based on normal, comfortable living. Because I think that Striker right that you know, every single girl, she's looking for that comfort and safeness that, you know, she can have near the man. And when she feels comfortable, you know, she relax, and you know, she can be herself. And that's why I don't think that it's a good idea to try to spoil somebody with money or gifts or anything and try to buy their attention.
No, and if someone's love can be bought, well, then it goes to the highest bidder. That means when the next person comes with more money, well, then her love can be purchased by this guy as well. So please, guys, like, we're saying this stuff because we see this stuff happening. We see these other agencies are kind of like they don't deny it, but they sort of say, well, give it a go, you know, just try and see what happens. Well, just try and see what happens, and she'll be with your girlfriend for 2-3 years, and then it ends, and then you got to do the whole thing over again. We just want you to be reasonable from the start, have a reasonable expectation, and then you may be able to start a relationship that for the long term. If you just want it for the short term, then why not?
Do whatever
then
you
go
want.
for it. Like, who cares? Like, have fun, go do whatever you want. But if you really are doing it like for the long term, which is 100% of our guys, 100% of the guys that we talk to that we believe, unless they can keep it sort of a hidden agenda, but 100% of the guys we talk to want something for life. Hey, actually, one other thing, I think I was going to say it before, is that like quite often I hear this a lot, and I actually heard it the other day, and it's that yeah, I'm 50 years old, but all my friends are like 40, and people say that that I look like I'm 35, right? But this is the classic one, like people say that I look like I'm 35, and I feel like I'm 35, and so you think that you should date a 35-year-old woman. Well, they need to find a 35-year-old woman that wants to date a 50-year-old. So are there any 35-year-old women going out there going, like I really feel like I'm a 50-year-old. I really want to do things a 50-year-old man would be doing. If you got money, for sure. But otherwise, like, it doesn't matter if you feel like you're 35. It's what she feels like.
And
as
I
well.
want to stay here on that, older ladies, like even again, Elena, we went to the beach with her, just me and her, and she said, we was walking, and it was kind of like pretty far walk, and we went to the further beach, and she said, Luba, like, I feel myself like, or I asked her, I don't remember, she said, I feel myself like maximum at 38, and she's 54, she said, I would never even, she said, unless like I kind of like look at my passport, I don't feel it. So guys, we hope that this video was not like negative for you or like pessimistic. We just wanted to know truth. That we are about like practical approach. We want you to be successful. We want you to take the right path from the beginning as much as we can navigate you through, and just follow it. Because of course, it's like with the kids, when you can tell your kid, like, and I think that I already used this example, like, don't go to this tree, you will fall. Don't go to this tree, you will fall. And sometimes you better go to this tree, fall, and then stand up and understand that this tree, like, you will never climb again. So
yeah, no, I agree. I was actually talking to someone the other day. We're talking about these large age gaps, and he was saying like how he likes to date younger, not young ladies, but like in their 20s. And I said like I've never done that. And the reason that I've never done it before is that when I like to go on a date, I like to talk about travel, I like to talk about business, like the economy.
what can
like
she give you?
What can a 23-year-old talk to? What am I going to say to her? Like, when you finish university, what do you think that you'll do? You think you'll stay in Ukraine? You think you'll go to Poland to do your... Yeah. So for me, it's like it has to be, and that would have to carry on through the relationship, So just think about it for a second. Like, if you're 50 years old and you're trying to have a conversation with a 24, 25-year-old, like, is it going to be enjoyable? Apart from like looking at her, is it going to be an enjoyable experience?
Enough for today, guys. I'm really curious if you watched till this moment. If you do, please put your plus at the comment, just that you watched till this moment of the video. Thank you for your patience, and we hope that this information was good for you, and we see you next time.
We'll see you next time.